places like Blood Alley.
Blood Alley. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds a little bit rough.
It was pretty intense. Think dim lights, crowded bars, gambling dens, opium dens.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a whole different scene than the fancy restaurants in China Rich Girlfriend.
For sure. But both worlds existed side by side in Shanghai. And Riley thrived in that environment. He became the symbol of the city's wild side.
That makes sense. I mean, there's that whole thing about the Canadrome Ballroom with musicians like Buck Clayton.
Oh, yeah. That's another side of Shanghai in the 1930s that's so fascinating.
So you've got this city in total turmoil, but then you also have this incredible artistic and cultural scene happening at the same time.
And what's really amazing is that Shanghai became this haven for Black American jazz musicians. They found opportunities and recognition there that they often couldn't get back in the U.S.
That's incredible. It's like this city of contradictions was also a place of refuge and creative freedom.
And these musicians, they didn't just perform in Shanghai, they became part of the city. They helped shape the nightlife and the culture.
It's a shame that the golden age of jazz in Shanghai didn't last longer.
It is. It was eventually overshadowed by the Japanese occupation and the rise of gangsters like Riley.
It's a good reminder that even in a city as vibrant as Shanghai, nothing stays the same forever.
Very true. Speaking of things that don't always last forever, it makes me think about the story of the Huang brothers from Remembering Shanghai.
Oh yeah, those guys. They pulled off that
It's
crazy
hard.
heist, right? Stealing their own inheritance from their father's bank account.
Yep. It's a story that really makes you think about the whole concept of family and inheritance in traditional Chinese culture.
And it's even more interesting because it happened during a time of massive social and economic upheaval.
Exactly. It wasn't just sibling rivalry. It was about these two brothers trying to navigate a world where the old rules were being challenged and new opportunities were popping up everywhere.
So their actions were kind of a reflection of the times, a clash between traditional values and a rapidly changing society.
I think so. And that theme of clashing values, it seems to be woven into the very fabric of Shanghai.
Yeah, it's like that saying, Puxi is like Poo York, but Pudong will always be Poo Jersey.
It's the perfect way to sum up the contrast between those two areas.
You have Puxi, the historic heart of the city, and then you have Pudong, this super modern financial district across the river.
It's like two completely different worlds existing side by side. And that saying it really highlights the perceptions and the social distinctions that people still have about those areas.
So even as Shanghai is racing towards the future, it's still holding on to its past. And those tensions and contradictions, that's part of what makes the city so fascinating. I know. It's wild to think about all these different sides of Shanghai existing together. The glamour, the grit, the family dramas. It's like each story we've talked about reveals a whole new layer of the city.
That's what makes Shanghai so captivating. It defies easy categorization. It's not just one thing. It's ancient traditions and cutting-edge technology. It's the legacy of colonialism and the ambition of a global powerhouse.
And it's all happening at the same time. It's making me realize that all these seemingly random details we've been talking about, they're not so random after all.
You're right. They all fit together. They're threads in this larger tapestry of Shanghai's history and culture.
Exactly. So for someone who's never experienced Shanghai, what's the one thing you'd want them to take away from this deep dive? What's the most important message?
I think it would be this. Don't let the stereotypes define your understanding of Shanghai. This is a city that constantly surprises you. It challenges your expectations. You can find ancient temples right next to skyscrapers. You can eat street food and then have Michelin-starred dining.
It's like that saying we talked about, Puxi is like Poo York, but Pudong will always be Poo Jersey. It perfectly captures that duality, the old and the new, the east and the west.
Exactly. And for anyone thinking about visiting Shanghai, my advice would be to go with an open mind. Be prepared to be amazed, because around every corner there's a story waiting to be discovered.
A hidden detail that will change how you see the city.
Exactly. That's the magic of Shanghai. It's in those unexpected moments.
So to our listener, if you're ever feeling adventurous, book that ticket to Shanghai. The real Shanghai isn't in the guidebooks. It's in those little moments, those hidden details that reveal the true spirit of the city. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Shanghai. We'll catch you next time for another journey into the unexpected.